Mr. President, I appreciate the good work of our colleagues on this legislation. Unfortunately, the legislation spends $34 billion, all of which would be borrowed, all of which adds to the debt of the United States and is contrary to the Budget Control Act limitations that was passed just last August. It's really a grievous problem. I believe have a moral obligation to not mislead the people who elected us when we said we intend to stay by the limits on increasing debt. This bill increases debt above that limit. The Congressional Budget Office scores it as adding $34 billion in debt to the United States. Chairman Conrad has certified a budget point of order is legitimately placed against it. If I would expect we would have a motion to waive the budget point of order. I would expect there might be a motion to say, well, we don't agree with the CBO, or somehow this is so important we need to add to the debt anyway. I think we're setting a great precedent here, a matter of importance for our own integrity and the fiscal stability of America, and I believe it's important that we adhere to that limit. So, Mr. President, the pending measure, Amendment 2000 to S. 1789, the 21st Century Postal Service Act, would violate Senate pay-go rule and increase the deficit. Therefore, I raise a point of order against this measure pursuant to Section 201A of S. Con. Res. 21, the concurrent resolution on the budget for fiscal year 2008.
The U.S. Postal Service itself says that if this bill, Substitute Senate Bill 1789, is adopted, the Postal and it will be phased in over 3 years, the Postal Service will save $19 billion annually. To me, that's what this is all about. No deficit, a saving. I ask my colleagues to support the motion to waive the point of order.
I think there's merit in the discussion about whether we vote now or vote later. The important thing is that we vote on this budget point of order. But it's not as if the entire process of trying to fix the post office is going to collapse if we take this vote and it succeeds. All we're asking is that we find a way to pay for it.
As much as anybody in this chamber, I'm interested in reducing budget deficits, as much as anybody. The Postal Service tells us today they're going to lose $23 million. They lost that much yesterday. They're going to lose that much again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. They owe $13 billion to the Treasury.
We are trying to do the right thing, the right fiscally responsible direction.
I really appreciate our senators who've expressed their disagreement on the budget point of order. But even if you disagreed over the $11 billion, there's $23 billion additional spending that's borrowed, will be borrowed over the decade, according to CBO. And with regard to the $11 billion, that money will be borrowed and given to the Postal Service. It increases the debt of the United States.
If the post office is that important to this nation, if it has bipartisan support, shouldn't we figure out a way to deal with the post office in such a way to stay within the budget constraints that we've laid out? It seems to me that things that are very popular in this nation are the very things that we ought to make choices about and eliminate something else if we want to spend money in this way. Now, I'd like to see a bill that's far more reformed, and I think if we did that, the tab on this would not be $34 billion above the budget. But what I would say to everyone here, please, I mean, our credibility is going out the window. 64 of us signed a letter to the leader and to the president asking that we deal in a real way with deficit reduction. The country almost shut down. The world watched. We established a top-line number. And here we are, for something that we like, we're violating that. we're losing all credibility with our citizens, the citizens that we represent. We're losing credibility in the world. And to me, if you're going to produce a bipartisan piece of legislation, it ought to be one that lives within the bipartisan agreement that we had regarding what we're going to spend in this nation.
I think the question before us is, why can't we do both? Why can't we fix the post office and pay for it at the same time? The ultimate question is, will we do what's best for the post office and the American people? And doing what's best for the post office and the American people is any cost that the CBO says it will violate the budget agreement, we ought to pay for it.
We are not saying you shouldn't have a postal bill. Let's vote. Let's stand firm with the debt limit agreement we had in August. Let's ask our good committee to produce a bill that's paid for in some fashion. We spend $3,700 billion in this United States of America. We'd need to find about $3 billion a year to fund their proposal to solve this problem. That's what we should do. We're at a defining moment. There's no middle ground. I say vote to sustain the point of order.